Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my full buck moon reading. Shuffle the cards up. So, as you know, I use the Ontario names for the full moons, and the full buck moon is kind of a representation of the fact that this is the time of the year when the bucks have shed off their horns and the new ones are growing in, and you'll see them from any stage of development, from little bumps on their heads to the antlers starting to come through with a nice soft fuzzy fur on them, to the whites of the actual horns starting to peek out. And it's a cycle that goes through every year. The bucks grow their horns, the new babes will start to grow their first set, and then the older ones grow them, and every time they grow in bigger, more expansive, and a lot of times people use that as an indication to show the age of the buck. And so this full buck moon reminds us of these natural growth cycles. Now, sometimes growth cycles do come with a bit of discomfort to them, as we all know, as we've all gone through our physical, emotional, mental growth periods. And so it's just a reminder that for this moon, for us to kind of reflect on our own cycles of growth that we've been going through, and recognizing what we release today creates conditions that will make tomorrow's possible. Now, this year, the full buck moon is in Aquarius, which traditionally is ruled by Saturn, and in the more modern systems, it has been connected to Uranus. So there's some interesting energies going on between Uranus, Saturn, and Aquarius here. And so in Aquarian full moon, it brings our attention to the systems and communities we engage in. And then you end up with this trio that gives us a sense of tension, inviting us to explore the structures and systems that shape our lives. And this becomes a really good time of discernment, where, you know, we're looking at what is supporting the overall health and well-being of the whole, because Aquarius is more than just the one person. Aquarians and Aquarius energy really is looking to systems, it's looking to communities, it's looking to something much bigger, especially because, you know, Aquarius is connected to some of those generational planets. So we have a 3-card reading, which I will shuffle the cards for what we can look to for this full buck moon. Shuffle the cards up nicely. And what does the full buck moon bring to us? Interesting. 1, 2. All right, so the first question that we're going to be exploring today is, what needs to be cleared to make room for growth? And so with the bucks, for instance, the old horns need to be shed for the new horns to come through. For us, one of the first things that we go through as a big growth period is our teeth, right? Like, so we have our baby teeth grow in, and then eventually we outgrow the baby teeth, and they have to come out in order for the adult teeth to come in. And we have the lovers. So right now, the full buck moon is bringing the lovers card to our attention, because the lovers is about choices. It is about instant gratification versus waiting for a much stronger, a much more reliable, a much more long-standing reward or outcome to come to us. And so a lot of times when we think of, you know, the lovers, it's an idea that it's this romantic, swept off your feet and live happily ever after. But the thing is even if it is connected to that kind of energy, you still have to make a choice. Do you want the forever guy, or do you want the right here, right now guy? And so with this Aquarian moon that's coming in, and we're looking to what needs to be cleared in order to make room for growth, we need to be making choices, very mindful, very present choices on the things that we need to clear out. The thing is with the major arcana coming in, it is saying this is something that needs to be done. The buck has no choice, right? The horns need to come out. And, you know, as you're growing, those baby teeth need to come out. If you hit a certain point where, you know, the grown teeth are coming in and the baby teeth haven't come out, they will pull them, right? Because there are certain things that we have to look at. And this is the thing, is are we going to choose to allow these growth points to happen? Or are we going to hold off until they become something that someone else steps in and forces through whatever needs to be cleared out? And this can become a very tender place to be. This can become something that really we might struggle with, because if we have somebody coming in and telling us what needs to be cleared out because we chose to ignore it, then it sets up for a whole other situation that we have to deal with. And so right now it's looking at the big things that are going on in your lives and asking yourself, what am I going to choose to engage with at this point? What is it? And really engaging with them, because sometimes it might be, oh, I'm going to do the bare minimum, right? That's that instant gratification. I'm going to do whatever I can do now to just get it off my plate, without actually taking the time and looking at what is needed and what is being asked for in order to clear it off completely. So that's something really important to keep in mind at this point. Next, we're looking at what growth point discomfort may you be experiencing, because I guarantee you that when those antlers come in, there is a sense of discomfort, because it does break the skin. You know, every time baby's teeth, they are upset because there is a level of pain that comes with it. So growth points do tend to bring with them a certain level of discomfort because of what happens. Even you know, like even when you look at growth points, say of a snake having to shed its skin, right? There is a certain level of discomfort, and it does need to happen, because if a snake is unable to fully shed its skin, it may end up amputating part of its body, because the old skin ends up constricting so much that it severs that piece. And if it's high enough up in the system, it can actually kill someone, you know, these animals, if they're unable to do it. The same thing like with butterflies. If they don't have the strength to come out of the cocoon, which is a very discomforting process to go through, then there is, you know, consequences for those. So we're looking at what growth point discomfort may you be experiencing. And the thing with this is it's a really good indication of where the choices that you need to be looking at are the priorities. And so here we have the Six of Wands. And this is interesting to have the Six of Wands as a growth point discomfort. And I like this in the sense that what it's saying is the places where you feel the most discomfort are the places where you're finding success and where you're actually finding ways that you can move forward. You may have been stuck for a really long time, and all of a sudden you do something and you're getting a lot of people seeing you and acknowledging you and you know, kind of wanting whatever it is that you're doing. And it might be making you feel really, really uncomfortable, because maybe that's a growth point in the sense of recognition, in the sense of authority, in the sense of validation that you may really have said that you wanted, but in the back of your mind, you have no idea what to do with it when it comes. And so one of the things that this growth point is telling you is that it's really important that the choices you're making are ones that are going to lead you towards overcoming obstacles, towards solving problems, towards moving beyond the limitations and the small pool that you're kind of swimming in. Our next question asks, what possibility awaits once the cycle completes? So if you're willing to really engage with the choices and really look at what the possible outcomes can be and choose from what feels the best, even if it feels the worst at the time, you're willing to grow who you are. You're willing to overcome your current limitations. You're willing to find victory in the things that are going on right now. Then where you find that the possibility that's going to come in is the Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups is going to bring you to a place of peace and contentment, a place where you will really feel at ease, where you will really feel the freedom and the ability to drop the masks that you might have to play with when you're going out. You know, it's allows you to be your authentic self when you're with other people, and to know that no matter where you are, you're home, because the Ten of Cups is the place where, you know, physical comfort, love, support, all of those kinds of things, they all merge into one here. And this is the place where no matter where you are, you know you're supported. No matter where you go, you know you have the resources. And there's a level of, you know, deep peace and confidence that comes from this place. And this is what it's asking you to be, is like by the time you step into the possibilities that will exist after you've gone through this growth cycle, you're going to find yourself in a place that is unlike any that you've kind of ever been before, because you're going to be so much more comfortable in who you are. It's really kind of coming out of that shell and really allowing yourself to step into the next phase, the next cycle of your life. Now, when I went to shuffle the cards and choose the cards, when I put the deck back together, there was a card that decided it wanted to stay out. And so this gives us a little bit of an understanding. So because it was the very bottom card from the deck, this is saying this is a foundation piece to keep in mind as we're going through this. And here we have the Ten of Swords. And I think it's interesting that we've got the Ten of Swords paired up with the Ten of Cups, because they're almost polar opposites when you're looking at the themes. The Ten of Cups is saying you want to be able to sit quietly and not be pushed by your to-do list, not be wondering if somebody needs you, not be feeling that you have to be doing something, right? You want to be able to reach that point where you can just sit and breathe and feel good, and there's no guilt, there's no shame around all of that. And then the Ten of Swords is kind of the opposite. The Ten of Swords has this pressure of nothing's ever going to change. No matter what I do, I'm always going to be stuck here. I'm always going to end up in this situation. There's nothing I can do. There's an inability to see the silver lining, to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, you can see this figure, right? Completely crumpled, a little bit along the same lines of the Ten of Wands, but that's overburdened and overwhelmed and burned out. This is mental, right? This is the stories that, like, no matter what I do, nothing works out. Everything I try falls apart, right? It's a very defeatist, very victim mindset that is wrapped up in things like depression and things like anxiety, limitations, right? Like when we use our current situation as reasons why we are unable to do other things, right? That all lives in the Ten of Swords. And so if that is the foundation that we're dealing on, then automatically when we're looking at our choice points, we're going to choose the quick and easy answer. And most of the time when we choose a quick and easy answer, it leads to more of these stories, because the quick and easy answer very rarely works out in the way that we want. And so if we're continuing to stay in that victim mindset, then all of the victories that we have, we're going to give them to somebody else. We're going to say this only happened because of that person, or this only happened because it was a fluke. And so we want to make sure that we're overriding those defeatist stories, so that when we get to the Ten of Cups, we can actually override the worry and the anxiety. And so lots of stuff going on right now, lots of pressure points, lots of things to be looking at. And I think the biggest takeaway from this reading for me is to really look at how the choices I make and the recognition I give myself leads me to either whether I'm going to be the defeatist and continue to live a limited story, or if I'm going to really step into the confidence and the contentment that there is nothing that is outside of my grasp if I'm willing to take the time and be very mindful and present in order to get it. So I hope you enjoyed the full buck moon reading, and I will see you again at the new moon. Take care.